Glenn Miller, born in 1904 in the small town of Clarinda, Iowa, was destined for a life filled with music. From a very young age he showed an extraordinary interest in melodies and rhythms, often found tapping his feet to the tunes of the day. He loved music from a young age. His family, though not wealthy, supported his passion. They recognized his talent and encouraged him to pursue his dreams, even if it meant making sacrifices. He wasn't born into wealth. Life was tough, especially in the Midwest. The early 20th century was a time of great hardship for many families, and the Millers were no exception. They lived a modest life, working hard to make ends meet. But music offered an escape. For Glenn, it was a way to transcend the difficulties of daily life. He found solace in the notes and harmonies, losing himself in the world of sound. He learned the trombone, practicing diligently. His dedication to mastering the instrument was evident from the start. He would spend hours each day, honing his skills, determined to become the best. This dedication would shape his life. It was this relentless pursuit of perfection that set him apart from his peers. He wasn't just playing for fun, he was preparing for a future in music. By the 1920s, Miller was playing professionally. He had joined various bands, each experience adding to his growing expertise. The jazz scene was vibrant, and Glenn was right in the middle of it. He honed his skills, joining bands, even forming his own. Success wasn't immediate. The road to recognition was fraught with challenges, but Glenn was undeterred. He knew that every setback was a learning opportunity. Jobs were scarce, and the music industry was competitive. Many talented musicians were vying for the same opportunities, making it difficult to stand out. But Glenn's unique sound and unwavering determination kept him going. Still, Miller persevered, driven by his passion. He traveled extensively, playing wherever he could, always seeking to improve and innovate. His journey was not just about making a living, it was about making a mark. He wasn't just a talented musician, he was a gifted arranger. Glenn had a remarkable ability to hear how different instruments could come together to create something magical. His arrangements were innovative, setting him apart from others. He understood how to blend instruments, creating a unique, full sound. This skill was not just about technical knowledge, it was about feeling the music, understanding its soul, and bringing it to life in a way that resonated with audiences. This talent would become his trademark. Glenn's ability to craft beautiful, harmonious arrangements made him a sought-after musician and bandleader. His work was not just heard, it was felt deeply by those who listened. It wasn't just about playing the notes, it was about making them sing together. Glenn Miller's early life was a testament to his passion, perseverance, and extraordinary talent. These qualities would eventually lead him to become one of the most influential figures in the history of music. The 1930s brought the Great Depression. The stock market crashed, plunging the nation into despair. Unemployment soared, bread lines grew longer, and families struggled to survive. The Dust Bowl added to the misery, turning fertile land into barren wastelands. Music became a refuge. People tuned into their radios, finding solace in melodies and lyrics that spoke to their struggles. Radio provided a sense of community, a shared experience that brought people together in their living rooms. For many, music wasn't just entertainment, it was a lifeline. It offered hope in the face of despair, a reminder that even in darkness there was beauty to be found. It was a way to forget their troubles, if only for a little while. Radio became the dominant medium of the era. In the 1930s, as the world grappled with the Great Depression, radio emerged as a beacon of hope and connection. It was more than just a device. It was a lifeline that brought the world into people's living rooms. The airwaves carried voices and music that transcended the isolation many felt during those tough times. It connected Americans across vast distances, bringing news, entertainment, and a sense of shared experience. Families would huddle together, eagerly awaiting the latest updates or their favorite shows. The radio was a unifying force, bridging the gap between urban and rural communities, rich and poor, young and old. It was a medium that spoke to everyone, regardless of their background. Families gathered around their radios each night, listening to music, comedy shows, and news broadcasts. The living room would transform into a theater of the mind, where imaginations ran wild with the stories and sounds that filled the air. Programs like The Shadow and Amos and Andy became household names, providing much-needed laughter and suspense. For struggling musicians like Glenn Miller, radio offered a platform. It was a stage without boundaries, where talent could shine and reach ears far and wide. Musicians who might have otherwise remained unknown found their big breakthrough radio broadcasts. It was a time when the airwaves were filled with the sounds of big bands and orchestras, bringing a sense of grandeur and excitement to everyday life. It allowed them to reach a wider audience, to share their music with a nation hungry for joy and escape. The radio waves carried their melodies into homes, dance halls, and even the streets, creating a shared musical experience that was both intimate and expansive. Listeners could close their eyes and be transported to a concert hall, feeling the energy and emotion of a live performance. Miller's talent as an arranger, his ability to create a full, rich sound, was perfectly suited for the medium. His innovative arrangements and unique style set him apart, making his music instantly recognizable. The radio amplified his genius, allowing his compositions to reach millions and leave a lasting impact on the musical landscape of the time. His music, upbeat and danceable, provided a welcome respite from the hardships of the day. Dance halls would come alive with the sounds of his orchestra, as people let loose and found joy in the rhythm. It was a form of escapism that was deeply needed, a way to momentarily forget the struggles and uncertainties of the era. It allowed people to lose themselves in the rhythm, to forget their worries and simply enjoy the moment. The power of music to uplift and unite was never more evident than during these times. Families and friends would gather not just to listen, but to share in the experience, creating memories that would last a lifetime. Miller's music became synonymous with the era, a soundtrack to a nation yearning for better times. His legacy, carried on the wings of radio waves, continues to resonate even today. The radio, with its ability to connect and inspire, played a crucial role in shaping the cultural fabric of the 1930s, making it truly a lifeline for many. By the late 1930s, Glenn Miller and his band were making waves. Their unique sound, a blend of swing and jazz, resonated with audiences. His meticulous arrangements, the way he layered the instruments, created a sound that was both familiar and fresh. Hits like Moonlight Serenade and In the Mood became anthems of the era. They were played on the radio, in dance halls, and at parties. Miller's music wasn't just for listening, it was for dancing, for celebrating, for embracing life. His success wasn't accidental. He was a relentless perfectionist, demanding the best from himself and his musicians. He rehearsed tirelessly, fine-tuning every note, every phrase, until it met his exacting standards. Then came World War II. The world was plunged into chaos, and every nation was called to action. The war affected everyone, from soldiers on the front lines to civilians back home. It was a time of great uncertainty and fear, but also of immense courage and sacrifice. With the world at war, Glenn Miller felt a call to serve. He was not just a musician, he was a patriot who believed in the cause. The war effort needed more than just soldiers. It needed morale, hope, and a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. Miller knew his music could provide that. At the peak of his career, he set aside fame and fortune, enlisting in the Army Air Forces. It was a bold move, one that many found surprising. Here was a man who had everything: success, recognition, and a thriving career. Yet, he chose to leave it all behind to serve his country. It was a testament to his character and his deep sense of duty. He was determined to use his music to boost morale and support the troops. Music had always been a powerful force, capable of lifting spirits and bringing people together. Miller believed that, in the darkest of times, music could be a beacon of light. He wanted to bring that light to the soldiers who were fighting for freedom. He could have stayed home, continued entertaining on the home front. Many entertainers did just that, providing much-needed distraction and joy to those who remained in the United States. But for Miller, that wasn't enough. He felt a deeper calling, a need to be where the action was, to directly support the men and women risking their lives. But Miller felt strongly about serving his country. He was driven by a sense of patriotism and a desire to contribute in a meaningful way. He saw his enlistment not just as a duty, but as an honor. It was his way of giving back to a country that had given him so much. He believed in the power of music to uplift spirits, to provide comfort and hope in times of darkness. For soldiers far from home, music was a reminder of what they were fighting for. It was a connection to their loved ones, a piece of normalcy in an otherwise tumultuous world. Miller understood this deeply and made it his mission to bring that comfort to the troops. He formed the Army Air Forces Band, a group of talented musicians dedicated to entertaining the troops. This was no small feat. It required organization, dedication, and a lot of hard work. But Miller was up to the task. He handpicked musicians who shared his vision and commitment, creating a band that would become legendary. They traveled extensively, performing for soldiers stationed across the globe. From Europe to the Pacific, the Army Air Force's band brought music to the front lines. Their performances were more than just concerts, they were lifelines, moments of joy and respite in the midst of war. The band faced many challenges, from dangerous travel conditions to the constant threat of enemy attacks, but they persevered. Miller's music became a reminder of home, a symbol of hope and resilience. For the soldiers, it was a touchstone, a way to stay connected to their roots and to the ideals they were fighting for. Glenn Miller's decision to trade his swing for service left an indelible mark on history, showing the world the true power of music and the depth of his patriotism.